Excellent. That looks like we have gone live. So let's just sort out the next bits of social media posting just while some people hopefully come in. Of course, it's never to be assumed that that's what's going to happen, but we can live in hope. There we are. There we are. Let's pop that into there. That's cool. And I can see the comments. And I've got my sound turned down, so that's all very positive. And I can see some eyes coming in, which is even better. Cool, cool. Yeah. I think we're going to go with that one. Okie dokie. Good evening, Elizabeth. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello, Catalin. Hello, Sheila. Good evening, Elizabeth. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, dear, yeah, that's a fairly cream cracker brush, but that will be just about fine. We'll just give it a little bit and then let's see who else comes in. It's just only just 6 o'clock, so let's just move some of the gubbins off the desk and turn that round the right way because that would always help. Hi Sheila, thank you darling. If you could just confirm that you can hear me. I definitely know that you can see me, but my sound is switched off. So, cool. So this evening we're going to be using some pre-coloured rapid resin shapes and a wooden box and a rice paper from Stamperia from the Forest collection. Thank you, my darling. Much appreciated. With a bit of mix and match project, but just because I've chosen to do this on a box with a nice wooden cutout in the middle so I can pop a box of tissues in, you could do this on any box that you wanted. Or even take the concepts and do it on almost any other surface that you want. Thank you, Sarah. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So for you joining it. Oh, don't want to put that on there. That's a bit of a wet. That's wet. So we're going to start. We've got a natural wood box here. And so I'm going to use the Leser gels. So there's lots of different colours. This is the chestnut coloured one, as I think it's the colour that coordinates best with the rice paper that I'm going to be using. Maybe a little bit paler, but I don't want to custom mix because we're going to add some extra details onto here anyway. So from that point of view, it'll work. And because this is a stain, it will show, as it dries, it will show the colours or the natural texture of the wood through. And that's why I've chosen it. If I was using a cardboard box or a papier-mâché box, I might just choose to use a layer of paint. But because I'm using a natural wood base, the Leser gels will allow the natural beauty of that wood to show through. And we've got bits falling on the floor that we'll have to retrieve later on, but hey ho, that's just a part of life. We don't need to have a huge great big thick layer, and it will dry quite quickly. Now, so we're going to do something different on the sides of the box to on the base of the box. So there we are. So I can see how that beautiful texture has come out in the natural wood grain, and that's why I really like the Leser gels for doing that. And you can layer colours over the top, but we're going to keep it simple tonight and not try anything too complicated. And we will be doing the inside of this box, the lid, also in the Leser gel, because ultimately it will be covered by a box inside. So I just want it to look nice and finished. It doesn't necessarily have to look completed. So let's just get this covered over, and then as it dries, the natural wood grains will become more evident. And because it's a natural base, it'll vary a little bit from wood plank to wood plank that's been used to pop it together, and that's also just okay. We'll just take a little bit of that and pop some of that onto there. So we've got a few steps to go this evening, but that's okay. There we are. There we are. Let's just add that onto there. And I know I do want to have it painted or covered in the Dekoratőr gel inside, but we can do that. Well, I can do that off the live, can't I? As I'm only intending doing that bit of it. So let's just take the inside of the box. There we are. And then I can lift off some of that excess, and we're going to carry on with that. And I've actually had to put my fan heater on in here today because it's reasonably cool. So let's just do the bits as we go. The whole project, with apart from casting the resin pieces, I've not done very much. There. Good evening, Lena. Welcome to us from Greece. I trust that the climate is good there and that you are safe and warm at home. There we are. I'm going to pop white acrylic primer on the outside anyway, because we're going to add some rice paper to that. So let's just add this, and then we can have the stain. And we can add maybe some splatters long term if I want to, once it's dry, and maybe we'll just keep it very, very simple. Who knows? We'll go with how I feel at the time. So we'll just add make sure we've got everything, a layer on everything. And we'll worry about the underside of the box off the line, but I will decorate it because I don't like pieces to be unfinished. There we go. So let's just pop this into here. And we can give these a little bit of a blast dry, and then I can add some acrylic primer onto here. I haven't been very well for a few weeks now. I'm coughing and spluttering. I certainly have one of the bugs that's going around, being a flipping nuisance. So I apologise if I'm still coughy and spluttery. But there we are. I'm hoping that it will. I'm 3 weeks in. It's going to disappear fairly soon. Let's just get rid of that hair. Don't want that in there. There we are. I enjoy winter, my darling. Well, I like a nice winter. I like some decent snow. I don't like wet and miserable, that's for certain. But decent snow I can live with. But cold and wet is definitely not great. And I gather parts of the UK have had something like 4 times the average rainfall over that we would normally have over the month of September. Yes, I do know we're in October now, but there we are. So there we are. So we have a nice layer of the Dekoratőr gel into there. I'll pop that brush in there to dry, and I'm just going to, because as ever we've got layers to add into this, and in fact let's just pop that up over there, and I can give this a little wipe down, and we can add a layer of stenciling over the top of the box, which I'm hoping might be reasonably. Yeah, it's not quite dried, but it's certainly not far off. That's my Dekoratőr gel flying on the floor. Let's just give this a little bit of a waft. Good evening, Isabel, and good evening, Isabella. So I think we're competing tonight. IOD launched a whole mountain of new molds. So I think that there are several companies advertising their new release molds. Some I like, some one is not so keen on. I'm going to behave and I'm not going to apply, which is even better. Here we are. Right, excellent. So let me just pick up, because we all know that stenciling and me are not necessarily my world's greatest activities, but I've got a stencil. I don't want to leave the lid of this completely the same. So let's just add some stencil spray onto there. It's going to pretty much cover. There we are. Let's just make sure that that's stuck down, because the more it's stuck down, the less likely I am to make a mess. And I am going to use some gold deluxe paste, and I'm hoping I've picked up an old pot. Excellent, I have. And as ever, these have split in storage, because that's what happens. So let me just give that a little mix together, and then we'll scrape that off there onto there, and we're gonna add, and I'm keeping this there we are. So we'll just now need to work our way around here, hopefully without splurging anything underneath. I think the stencil is reasonably, it comes from, I think, the Magic Forest collection, and it's generic, a little bit swirly, a little bit florally, a little bit leafy. So I just thought it would work with the whole idea. And it's winter season, it's winter bug season, isn't it? So I thought, what will be? Yeah, we're going to have tissues out. We might as well have them into something that's at least attractive, rather than it being on a horrible tatty box. And I'm sorry about the scraping, but I don't know any other way of putting it. Well, I could dab it on with a stencil brush, I guess, but I'll go through the stencil reasonably well. Hi, B. There's some areas of this stencil that are a bit bouncy, so I'm rather hoping we haven't gone underneath them. Most of it will be fine, because it's well and truly stuck down. So there we are. We've probably put way too much on with that last bit, but hey ho, there we are. Let's just get that over here. Make sure we have everything covered that we want covered. Okay, I think that will do. So let's just lid that, pop that there. So this, as I say, it is the Pentacolor Deluxe paste in gold, and it has a sort of gritty texture, which is cool. Hey, we do like it when a plan comes together. So let me just wipe off that edge. We'll wipe off that edge. That's going to be easier with my finger. There we are. Cool. It's a beautiful, beautiful stencil. As I say, it comes from the Magic Forest collection, and I think just that little extra sparkle makes a huge difference. It does dry quite quickly, so I am going to just wipe my stencil off so that I don't cream cracker it. There we are. Pop that there. Wipe that off. Of course, if you put a piece of paper under there, you could potentially not be wasting all of that, but sometimes life is too short. So that can go there, that can go down there, and we'll just have another little bit of a wipe up. There we are. So I've got my texture for my wood still showing through, and I've got the beautiful shimmer of my deluxe stencil paste on there. That's the front, that's the back, and we'll pop that down onto the floor and hope that we don't stand on it, because that's not what I want to do, really. It's like rather a mess, and that's definitely not what's required this evening. So let me just do that. Let's do that. Let me just wipe the muck off my hands, and then we can do that. Now, she says, well, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? Right, because we dropped one of my rice papers on the floor, and we might need two, so I have two. So this rice paper is from the Forest collection. I'll put that over by the heat. It's rather pretty. It's a Samperia rice paper, DFSA 4953. There we are. We'll just undo that, and then we'll lift that out of there. We might well need the other one. We might not. Oh, I'm doing well tonight. Bash, bang, wallop. I apologise. I might need that as well. So I might get away, because this is quite a dark rice paper, I might just get away with adding that onto here. We're clearly going to have to do some patching, except that we can pop this rice paper in any direction. So that might make life easier. So I will probably get away with just putting that straight onto there without needing to prime it. But my preference is always to prime so that I've got a nice surface. And as I say, I'm going to do the bottom of this box off the live, because you don't need to see me doing it all on the live, because there we are. So we're just going to add, so this is the acrylic primer. And I can use this because the wood is a porous surface and it's a bit thinner. I love my primer paste, but it's very, very thick. So hence the decision with the wood base to use the acrylic primer, not the primer paste, because this is its intended use. So that gesso will work very well on all sorts of surfaces to unify things. And it will work for this. It's just that the Pentart one is quite thick. And this is easier to apply. I take it that no one's responded to Sophie. Or she's got something else that she wants to do. There we are. So let's just pop this onto here. We've got 4 layers to go. That's super. Don't want to get white. See, I've got white on there, but hey ho, we'll wipe that off in a minute. In fact, we'll wipe that off now before we have a problem, because I don't really want it on there. There we are. And that's because I've got white on my hands. Hello, Imre. Welcome, my darling. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can see an area that I've missed with my serger, so we'll grab that again and go back over that. Just give that the three sides a bit of a dry while we're doing that, and then we can I can see where it is, so I might as well add it whilst the going's good. There we are. Okie dokie. There we are. Now let's give that. Oh, she says, even having missed more of it. Honestly, what am I like? There we are. You can always add. Wow. Wasn't sure I'd been that bad with the painting. There we are. So hopefully we now have got that covered. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll try again. There we are. So let's just tip that up. We'll do the other side of here. Yeah. Well, that's because that top bit is now wet, isn't it? But hey ho, we'll not worry. We'll plod on. We'll keep away from there for the moment. As I say, I think it's less of a problem. Definitely don't want it black though, but because of the nature of the rice paper that I've chosen for this today. There we are. You know what I haven't put out because I'm a wombat, and that's a decoupage glue. Ha ha! So let's just pop that there. Let's just pop that there. I can see a big clump of Lyser gel there. I'm just going to wipe it out. There we are. So spread that out a little bit so we've not got such a thick layer in there. We'll pop that onto there. Good evening, Barbara. I'm sorry. It is a bit of a pain, isn't it, when the internet does that? Let's just put that over there. Put that there. I'll just go and grab, because clearly my brain was not in gear. A decoupage glue and varnish, because we're clearly going to need it. There we are. So let's just wipe that off there, wipe that off there, pop that there, pop that over there, pop that there. Excellent. Move that before I stand on it again. Let's just give this a good blast. So when I'm choosing rice papers for covering boxes, I either get an A3 one, because then laterality and orientation is less of a problem, or I tend to try to find a rice paper that will work in landscape or portrait, and that gives me just that little bit extra in terms of choosing the size of the base that I want for adding to, if that makes sense. It absolutely could be the weather. It's not been brilliant, has it? Let's face it. So we'll just get this lot dry, and then we can do the outside whilst this is also drying. The joy of the acrylic primer is that A, it soaks in, and B, it dries fairly quickly. So that always makes life much easier when you're working. So we're currently dry at the moment. How long for is a moot point, and the weather forecast for the weekend is definitely dire. Here we are. So let's just get this reasonably dry. I will do the base off the live, I promise. Yeah. Okay. So let's just pop that over there. And we'll pop that round the right way. And we'll take our rice paper. So clearly I will have to patch it if I do it that way, but if I cut it this way, I won't have to patch it. So that makes life much easier. So let's just put a nice crease in there, nice crease there. Oh, there's a big fibre in that. So we've got a straight edge, so it won't matter if I just grab a cutter with a nice blade in it and pop it into here. And if I've got a little bit extra, it won't matter either. So that is 5 point. That's into there. So let's go 5 point, just to be difficult, it's 5.8 centimetres. And we'll need another strip that's 5.8 centimetres. We know, because we've got that. And by doing it this way and having the box lid differently, I'm almost certainly just going to get this out of one piece of rice paper. And we'll have another 5.8 centimetres. All right. And then we'll hopefully, that will then be enough to work together. And if it's not, well, we'll manage it, won't we? Right, icky. So let's just get, so I'm using the Silky Shine decoupage glue and varnish tonight because I've got the shine of my deluxe paste in gold on the surface. So I'm thinking that this will work quite nicely. And I will, no doubt, I will seal it with a varnish anyway. And I will almost certainly pick the Silky Shine varnish off the live to seal it all with. But there we are. So let's just pop a good layer of that onto there. And this is going to be the front of the box. So let's just pick a nice piece of rice paper. And I'm deliberately going to hang it so it goes around the edges a little bit, so that I don't have a sharp end on the side. And I'm going to have to trim a little bit of that, but that's absolutely fine. So we'll pop that onto here. Just give this a nice brush down. Pop that around there. Pop that onto there. There we are. So that's my nice chalky line. Brush out the obvious brush marks. Nice layer onto there. Let me just pop that onto there. And I'm going to just tear this little edge. Because we're going to do some patching of this rice paper as we go around the piece. But I don't want the tear necessarily to be on, literally on the edge of the piece. Sorry about that. That's my camera stand getting walloped. The tearing will help disguise the layers as we go. There we are. We can pop that onto there. Pop that down. That piece can come off. And then let's just take a piece of this. So does it matter which way those are going? Probably not. So we're just going to trim off a little piece of this. There we are. And we're going to add that so it goes over there. As I say, we're deliberately taking our edges. Oops, I'm going to need to go just a little bit further so we don't have a straight edge on the corner, because it's less likely to get damaged if it's on there, and this way you won't see where the join is. And if I just move you into there, you might be able to see what I'm doing. So there we are. So I'll just pop that into there, so that can go there. And add another layer of the decoupage glue and varnish onto there. There we are. We'll take off most of that. We don't need lots of that in there. There we are. Okie dokie. So I'm just going to give that a little bit. Good evening, Blanche. A little bit of a blast dry so that I can then turn it round to do the other pieces of here, because I'm going to have to pop it onto an edge one way or the other. So if we just give this a nice little blast dry. We will sand the edges, and we can add either wax or we can add some of the third gel if I knock off the edges, so that's fine. Pop this onto here. That is dry enough for me to pop down, so that's always a blessing, isn't it? So let's just trim off a little piece of here. And I could use some water to help put it, but hey ho, that will equally work. There we oh, let's get that out of there. Pop it over there. Right, so let's just then pop this onto here. There we are. Pop that down. Wash out all the air as we go. Make sure we've got a nice layer over that. There we are. Let's take our next piece. There we are. There we are. And we can add that onto there. So this is just an easy way of patching in your rice papers when you're wanting to cover an area. And by the time we've added some wet layers of varnish, it really won't be that obvious. Let's just give that side a little bit of a dry. I'll message you, Sarah. Want to be able to stand this up on ends, and I can't do that until that end is dry. So pop that up there, and now we can see that I'm going to have to do a little bit of patching here, which I knew I was always going to have to do, but this way my box will work. So there we are. If I come across there, hopefully. There we are. Excellent. Okay. There we are. So we'll just pop some of this down and I don't need all of that on there. We'll just tuck that down. So once it's properly dry, I will sand off the excess anyway. So there we are. We'll just pop that down there, curl that round the edges, pop that onto there. And really, you're not going to know where I've added the joins long term. And on the front, which is where I don't particularly want it to be seen at all, I've not got a join. So that's cool. Let me put the joins onto that. So let's pop that onto the floor over there. Let's leave that. Let's just mop up that varnish. Hello, Rosa. I think that must be Rosa. Good evening, my darling. Thank you for joining me this evening. I don't think I've seen your name pop up before. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So we've got some bits. And they are sort of laid out in groups intentionally. So let us pick up some plates. Because we have a whole mountain of these plates over here. There we are. And an olive and an earthy brown. So let's just tackle these pieces first. Not that one. We'll tackle these guys. So these have been cast using the Pentacolor Rapid Resin, which is a 1:1 by volume mix in the ivory. And these ones have been tinted with the Umbra resin tint, and the green ones with the emerald resin tint. And I've just left them to dry, and I've used two different molds from it. This is last year's leaf mold. We might as well take that one out rather than this year's, but this year there is one still available, and the wood slices mold as well. And that the wood slice mold has the acorns in. So we've got 1, 2, 3 different sizes of acorns tucked into there, and some additional leaves to go along with the mushrooms. So let me now pop that out of the harm's way, and we're going to do these. So the joy of this resin is that it's paintable without priming, and I'm literally just going to pop the dark brown all over here, and then we're going to have a little bit. I'm going to let it partially dry intentionally, and then we're going to wipe back. So we're going to treat this almost like a wash rather than it being solid. And that way I can capitalise on the fact that I've got some natural colour below anyway. And that's going to help give me some variation. So let's just pop that in there. And that should be all of the earthy brown that I need, providing, of course, this works nicely. So now that my textured mould looks less interesting, but if I just wipe that back, we've got glare, haven't we? We've got it tucked in to the recesses, and it looks a little bit more natural. I'm hoping that it looks better or more manageable on screen. So we're just, as I say, we're just using that as a wash really, rather than necessarily as a whole thing. It will dry in the nooks and the crannies, but it's giving me some texture. And previously I would have had to have painted my white resin with some bonding primer, then added my brown paint, and then added another layer over the top. So it just bypasses some of the steps along the way. I might just yet add some extra things into this. So we'll give this a little bit of a dry now before we move on to the leaves, and the little sycamore swirly things. So I've taken my Umbra tinted ivory rapid resin, and I've just added some low lights with the black acrylic paint, and that will stick perfectly well on there. I will varnish ultimately for overall protection, but it's just giving me some colour variation, and I might just add a little bit of dry brushing to further highlight the details in a minute. But I wanted to add a wash to start with for these pieces. I think those can sit there, and that can go there. Let me just pick up some ivory because it's softer, and we're just going to do the same on these leaves. Don't want them just to be the single flat colour, so let's just take that and wipe back so it can settle down. It's just going to soften the colour because sycamore leaves are not quite that, yeah, they're a softer colour, aren't they, globally. There we are. So let's add that into that. We can add that into there and wipe that back. Cool. So that's what we want to do with that. That can go into there. So those are those ones. And then we have lots of leafage. And autumn leaves definitely are not just one colour, are they? And they're certainly not just green. So we've got olive, ochre, in spite of what the name says, and red clay are the colours I'm going to use. There we are. So we're just going to, with a dauber, just add lightly some of these colours onto here. Just going to change them up a little bit, and I'm deliberately using a dauber, not a brush, because it's going to hit some areas and not some others, and it'll be more gentle colouring given I'm going to be layering ultimately anyway. And I've got the base layer of colour anyway because I've got the green from the resin. And I think this will be relatively quick. And again, if you're looking to make things relatively quickly, then this is, I think, going to help with makes and make life easier for people overall. There we are. So add a good amount of the green onto there, and let's just lid that. We can always come back and add more. Okay, so that can go in there. Now we've got autumnal shades, so let's just add some of the red clay, as if the colours, the leaves are changing in front of our eyes. Some bits are good, some bits are not good. There we are, because I don't want harsh lines, so that's a bit of a headache, that one, but there we are. And the dauber is just going to make life that bit easier, to be a little bit more or less regular, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't want everything to be all uniform. Definitely wanting the leaves to look much more natural than they might otherwise do. There we are. So let's just add some onto there. Just hoping that, yeah, this isn't going to be a ridiculously long length live tonight. Who never knows. There we are. Go back into there. That can go there. There we are. And I'll just pick a little bit of the ochre. So hopefully that means my leaves have got multiple colours, but I've achieved that autumnal look without having to stand there and paint it all in. There we are. Cool. So we can pop that there. All right, B, my darling, you take care. All right. Let's just pop these over here. The lovely B who watches regularly may just be in need of some gentle hugs and prayers from everyone. Life is not very easy for her at the moment, and that's all I will be drawn into saying, but gentle hugs and prayers and lots of loving messages I think would be appreciated. So let's just pop those over there, pop that there. This isn't going to then take very long for us to put this together. Hopefully is reasonably dry. Possibly. Let's just grab not fully dry, and I really do recommend that you do let your rice paper properly dry before you go manhandling it, and with sandpaper you'll get a nicer edge. And I will almost certainly adding some wax onto the sides of this. He says, "Oh, actually." There we are. There we are. So that needs the base to be painted with Lucer gel off the live, and a nice layer of varnish to go onto there before I put it together. But before I do anything else, I am just going to take some of my gold paste and dab it around the outside and dry it with almost like a wax, but not quite as a wax. So it's just going to add a little bit of shimmer to that edge and link the two surfaces together. Thank you, darling. It's really very much appreciated. There we are. I do try to make pretty things. I know that Baroque and brocante and vintage is very popular, but and it has its place. I have to say, it does have its place, but it's not necessarily my go-to. There we are. We'll just add that little bit of sparkle onto there. You can see a hard line there. I don't want that hard daub line, so let's just, you could just add it. Yeah, I just don't want to be adding it through a stencil on the edges, because I know the chances of what will happen is I will make an inordinate mess, because I know what I'm like. So and I'm going to Lucer gel the inside of there once it's dry as well. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that, because I want to add the bits together, and I don't wish to be here. Well, actually, time-wise, no, we're not doing so badly. I tell you what, we'll lift that over and let's find the gel brush. I think that was it. Yep. And then we can just add some of the gel into the inside of here. So why not? And then the only bit then you won't see me doing is the very, there we are. This is just how, generally how how a project evolves, isn't it? If you're making it for yourself, you do a bit, you walk away from a bit, you let a bit dry, you maybe move on to do something different. There we are. Tell you what, that can sit down there. Tell you what, that can't sit down there. We'll just pop that into there, pop that into there. Give this a little blast and then we'll turn it over. And we're going to add our resin pieces. Now at this point you could varnish these first and then put them on. I'm going to pop them all on place, let them all dry in place, and then off the live I will add some of the probably the soft touch varnish, I think, over the top, which has a little bit of a sheen and, as its name suggests, feels soft, because I think that's more appropriate for the leaves. Currently they definitely feel very hard. Get the top of that dry. Inside can dry on its own. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Right. That's the front. That's the back. Okay. So let us just have a play. I had a plan, but of course we now have everything all mixed up, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? There we are. That can go into there. That can go into there. That can go there. Doesn't matter if that goes slightly over there. There we are. Let's just pop that into there like that. We're going to add another one onto there. We're going to add some of these pieces. I had all of these lurking onto here, so there we are. So let's just add. So we're adding our details and adding our pieces in. Let's just add another one of those onto there. We can add another leaf, and let's just add another leaf into there. And I think we're going to add one of those into there. There we are. So 3 of those onto there, and then we can add these pieces. I'm just using these to cover joining areas. Yeah. There we are. Do I want? That's going to sit a little bit too high, but if I move that into there, that can sit there. That can sit into there. And we're not going to have that there. We're going to pop that onto there, that onto there. Leave that to settle down. We're going to add that one into there. So there we are. So let's just add in some of these pieces. So let's just pop that into place. Have I got any touching? Yeah. There we are. So let's lift those off and those off. and pop this under here. So yeah, my preference is the matte gel medium. It dries opaque. I do need to be slightly careful, therefore, with how I splurge it around, because it will show. There we are. Thank you, Isabel. And because I used the ivory resin and had it pre-tinted, they were just so easy to, to colour, because it literally was picking up the colours and then, adding, just dabbing on and colour washing for the cones, and just adding extra bits for these. Now I am aware that I've got a little bit of a gap down there, and that might be a bit of a pain. So let me just grab, because otherwise it'll be a pain long term. It's just some scissors that won't matter being cream crackered. I just need to add, because I've got some depth and a gap, I'm just wanting to add that in there so my poor leaf has got something to grab onto. It will be fine. There we are. As long as I've got it hitting some places, we will be okay. There we are. We'll pop that onto there. There we are. Let's just add that. Can go onto there. And we'll add this piece onto there. So it's partly on, partly off. There we are. And then we're going to mop that mess, because it will show. So let me just lift that, pop that down there. And I can see that I'm going to need to knock some gel medium right into there, just to build up a layer. It's going to be completely hidden long term. And I could just as easily use cardboard, because that's going to be easier. There we are. So that will hold that into place. Let's just wipe off some of that still that's lurking around, and then we'll start to add these pieces. That can go there. Ooh. And that can go there. That can go there. We'll lift that off. So this was literally just a question of putting the pieces into place and just building up the composition until I was happy with the global layout. And that, yeah, I did it as I cast the pieces so that I had, I didn't waste excess resin by casting more pieces than I really needed to. There we are. Okay. So that can go on there. That can sit on the top of you. You can sit on there. And you can sit into there. There we are. So let's just pop that there, and let's just have a little mop of that extra bits of gel medium. So here we are. And I might or might not add some splatters. I think it might look quite nice with some splatters, it has to be said. But then a project again wouldn't really be mine without a few splatters, would it? So the splatters will just link the layer. So I grab my fan brush and some of my ivory paint. And in fact, just before I do that, there we are. Oh, I like that. It just needed that little bit extra. I didn't particularly want it on there. Those just all need to now be left to settle down rather than being left there. I don't want that white on there, that ivory on there. So let's just pop that there, stop fiddling and add some splatters. There we are. Okay. Good evening, Angela. Welcome, my darling. Welcome. I didn't see you come in. I apologise for ignoring you. That's what you thought I was doing. So, we have our decoupaged base. We have our lid with our autumnal arrangement. I will pop this back together once it's all dried and give it a lovely varnish. And then we will have our piece all completed. So, that was my project for tonight. I hope that you found the live useful and interesting. And now all I need to do is hope that you all stay safe, whatever is going on in the madness that is the world tonight. And I look forward to seeing you all online, probably on Sunday. So bye for now.